an ornate gladius forged in silver and malachite, gifted to a soldier who would betray fascism, conquer empires, and dethrone Mussolini. What does the ceremonial sword reveal about Italy's imperial ambitions, the ruthless commander who received it, and the complex legacy of power and loyalty? Welcome to Fragments of Fascism. In 1936, Marshal Pietro Badoglio was gifted a remarkable weapon of honor, a ceremonial Roman-style gladius, forged in commemoration of Italy's triumph over the Ethiopian Empire. This finely adorned weapon, with its fascist iconography, Roman symbolism, and colonial tributes, offers us a window into the ideals that shaped a nation, and the man who helped build and betray it. Pietro Badoglio's military career began in 1888, when he enrolled in the Royal Military Academy of Turin. By 1890, he was a second lieutenant in the Artillery Corps, and just 2 years later, he had risen to first lieutenant. His baptism of fire came during the First Italo-Ethiopian War of 1896, which ended in a humiliating defeat for Italy. Despite this initial setback, Badoglio continued to distinguish himself. He fought in the Italo-Turkish War and later became a key military strategist during World War I. In 1916, he orchestrated the daring capture of Mount Sabatino, earning promotion to lieutenant general and a post as deputy chief of staff. At war's end, it was Badoglio who negotiated the Armistice of Villa Giusti with Austria-Hungary, thereby ending the First World War on the Italian front. During the interwar years, Badoglio served as governor of Tripolitania and Cyrenaica, modern-day Libya, contributing much to the stability of the region by crushing local Islamic insurgencies with ruthless efficiency. Badoglio's colonial exploits did not go unnoticed by the Duce, Benito Mussolini. Drawing inspiration from the legacy of the Roman Empire, Mussolini envisioned a revival of Italy's past glory and a realm that would stretch across the Mediterranean. As the historic heart of this ancient civilization, Italy, in his view, was destined to reclaim its rightful place on the world stage. Mussolini's appetite for empire stemmed from this longing to restore the lost glory of Rome, as much as it did from a desire to avenge Italy's humiliating defeat of 1896. The Duce thus cast his gaze upon Ethiopia, strategically positioned between Italian Somaliland and Eritrea. If he could consolidate these territories under a single banner, Italy's East African dominion would at last be complete. Ethiopia at the time was a tribal confederation ruled over by Emperor Haile Selassie I. A well-known slave state, an estimated 2 million slaves were thought to have existed in the country as of 1934. To many in Italy, the conquest of Ethiopia was more than a mere land grab. It was a humanitarian crusade aimed to liberate millions from the bonds of slavery. To others in the military, including Badoglio, the war presented an opportunity to avenge their defeat of 1896 and restore the nation's shattered honor. October 3, 1935. 200,000 Italian troops surged across the Eritrean border under the command of General Emilio de Bono, marking the start of the Second Italo-Ethiopian War. Adwa would fall just 3 days later, turning the bitter memory of 1896 into triumph. But the campaign soon stalled due to poor logistics and fierce resistance. General de Bono was quickly replaced by Marshal Badoglio. He cited repeated violations of the Hague Convention by Ethiopian troops, who were using illegal and inhumane expanding bullets while also engaging in the regular mutilation of captured prisoners, including the infamous torture and execution of downed Italian aviator Tito Miniti. The undisciplined Ethiopian troops would also ransack their own cities as they fell, victimizing their own citizens and contributing further to the negative impression held by the Italians. Marshal Badoglio would lead the March of the Iron Will, a rapid, mechanized advance pioneering the use of combined arms by employing tanks, planes, and chemical weapons. On May 5, 1936, Addis Ababa would fall. Mussolini triumphantly declared a fascist empire. Badoglio was named Viceroy of Italian East Africa and Duke of Addis Ababa. To commemorate this victory, he was also presented with a majestic weapon of honor. The sword is a modern interpretation of a Roman gladius, its silver scabbard mounted with gold and polished malachite, the blade within finely adorned with decorative etchings and engravings. Two golden eagle heads form the hilt, which further flank a medallion bearing the fasces, the eponymous symbol of fascism. On the reverse, the royal crest of the House of Savoy, hinting at Badoglio's monarchist leanings. The first inscription translates to the Italo-Ethiopian War, year 1922 plus 14, a clear reference to the fascist crusade in Ethiopia, which took place on the 14th anniversary of fascist rule in Italy. Below it, the Latin adage, Teneo te Africa, surrounded by four fasces. This expression, roughly translating to, I hold you, Africa, is attributed to Julius Caesar and conveys the timeless paternal dominion of Roman civilization over Africa. This is followed by another Latin phrase, virtute non fortuna, denoting victory through virtue rather than fortune. Above and below these inscriptions are medallions featuring an eagle and a centurion helmet flanked by two Roman short swords, symbols that link the glory of ancient Rome to the contemporary military successes of Italy. On the other side of the blade, we find another medallion bearing a colonial pip helm, with the central dedication below it translating to the Marshal of Italy, Pietro Badoglio, the colony of Eritrea. Engraved in the middle of the blade is an Art Deco depiction of the winged goddess of victory, Victoria, seen to be wielding the very same sword she adorns. Below her is yet another medallion, depicting a spade and some ears of wheat, both symbols of settler colonialism, tying conquest to settlement and planting the roots of Italian civilization on Ethiopian soil. The remainder of the blade is masterfully etched in a similar fashion, finely patterned with laurels of oak leaves, an enduring symbol of strength and perseverance. The maker of this sword is the master swordsmith Mario Vitali, as indicated on the ricasso. This sword serves as a powerful manifestation of the fascist ethos, upon which Mussolini's Italy and many other nationalist causes were founded. Incorporating historical and cultural symbols into a modern narrative of identity and purpose, fascism envisions a future in which meaning is derived from a society's collective heritage and their shared sense of historical continuity. This unique temporality is what distinguishes fascism from more conventional forms of nationalism and is evident in this sword's intricate design. Despite their eventual triumph in Ethiopia, the campaign exposed Italy's military shortcomings. Badoglio, aware of these weaknesses, later opposed Italy's entry into the Second World War alongside Germany. Mussolini's disastrous decision to invade Greece in 1940, against the advice of his generals, only heightened Badoglio's exasperation with the Duce. July 1943. Allied forces successfully land on the Italian island of Sicily. The invasion would send shockwaves through Mussolini's regime. That same month, the Grand Council of Fascism votes to depose Mussolini. The Duce was arrested and his empire crumbled. King Victor Emmanuel III would appoint Pietro Badoglio prime minister, and within weeks, Badoglio had initiated negotiations with the Allies. Badoglio's defection was a brazen betrayal of the Pact of Steel and threatened Germany's Alpine border, as well as their hold over the entirety of southern Europe, with Hitler referring to Badoglio as the blackest of his enemies. In response to this act of betrayal, the German Wehrmacht was forced to launch Operation Axis, swiftly occupying northern Italy, while German paratroopers, the Fallschirmjäger, freed Mussolini in the daring Gran Sasso raid. The pro-Axis Italian Social Republic, otherwise known as the Republic of Salo, would thus be established, with Mussolini at its helm. Italy descended into civil war. Many hold Badoglio responsible for prolonging the conflict. His defection triggered Allied terror bombings that targeted northern Italian cities, while all manners of atrocities would be committed by the invading French colonial troops as they ravaged the Italian countryside. After the war, Badoglio was temporarily expelled from public life, but rehabilitated in 1947. He spent his final years in seclusion in his hometown of Cazzano until his death in 1956. Revered by some and criticized by others, Badoglio remains a divisive figure defined by contradiction. A decorated soldier, a reluctant conspirator, and the symbol of a nation caught between tradition and transformation. But while his legacy may be contested, the sword endures, etched with memory, inscribed with ambition, and tied forever to Badoglio's name. As both a relic of the empire and a reminder of Italy's fractured past, it serves as a potent symbol of the battles fought not only on foreign soil, but for the soul of a nation seeking to define its future. Objects carry memory, and this sword reminds us that loyalty can cut both ways.